Welcome. I'm Edwin Rutsch, Director of the Center for Building a Culture of Empathy. And this is a project here to offer and to show different sample empathic listening approaches. And I've been inviting different empathic listeners from different traditions to address a problem I'm dealing with, which is my writer's block. And some of the different traditions that I've invited as empathic listeners, people from the therapists, focusing, nonviolent communication, role play, and human-centered design. And I'm here with Kathy, who will be the listener, and she will also give a short introduction to the approach that she's going to be using. So take it away, Kathy, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Okay, and hello, Edwin. I'm Dr. Kathy McGuire. I'm the Director of Creative Edge Focusing, and I incorporate Eugene Gendlin's focusing process into Carl Rogers' empathic listening. So I'm going to be trying to demonstrate that. And it will involve asking Edwin to close his eyes and go inside and pay attention to his body feel of his whole issue. And as a listener, Carl Rogers only allowed straight empathic reflection, which Mariah did in the first session, and it was very powerful. However, the Gendlin understanding of how our body holds implicit meaning allows us to add a few other kinds of response. So I'll be doing mostly empathic reflection. Sometimes if I see there's a lot of energy or implicit meaning, kind of neon lights sparkling around certain words that Edwin says, I might ask him to say more about that particular place. Also, the other type of response is called a focusing invitation. I might sometimes just say, Edwin, would it be okay to stop and just close your eyes and just sense into the body feel of that whole issue? So hopefully mostly empathic reflection, once in a while asking for more, once in a while giving a focusing invitation, and we'll stick with that. The fourth kind is personal sharings, and that's a whole other lesson. So I will invite, do you want to put us in a split screen, Edwin?
We are on my screen. It's split screen. So and it records what I see. So we're all set.
Okay. So I would like to invite you, Edwin, to close your eyes and try to keep your eyes closed, because you're trying to pay attention to this focusing place, this implicit body sensing. So just take a minute to notice all the thinking, all the everyday stuff going on, maybe up in your head. And slowly just let yourself drift down to the center of your body. And maybe do that by just kind of noticing and following your breathing. So just letting yourself breathe in and out. And in and out. Just breathing and releasing tension. And putting your attention toward the center of your body, around your heart, chest area. And now I'm going to make a suggestion, but I'll give you kind of some options here, and you're really in charge as the focuser, so take what works for you. So one thing you could do now is you could try to bring back the whole body feel of that place you got to in that first session, where you described this expectation of joy in your writing, and instead found this horrible knot of pain and stuckness. And there was a lot of sadness around that too, a kind of a grieving. Mm-hmm. And if that's coming back now, that we could have that as our starting point. Mm-hmm. So you can let me know, is that coming back?
Just mentioning it, I feel a spaciousness. I actually feel very soft and spacious in my heart, but around my eyes, there's kind of a tension and a sense of grief. When you mentioned grief, that really hit it, what I was sensing there.
So actually, as you've gone inside your body, there is a sense of spaciousness around your heart. Spaciousness. But up around your eyes, especially when I mentioned the word grief, there is a sense of tension and some actual grieving up around your eyes. When I said the expectation of joy and instead the pain and the grief of being stuck.
Yeah, it's merged. I can feel a sort of a tension. Like here's in this part of my body is a tension, and mixed in there is a grief, and then there's a sense of spaciousness. And something that actually came up was almost like wanting to scream. Like just talking when you're talking about the tension between the two. It's just like kind of wanting to kind of scream to. That's just what came up. Was just. Scream about this.
So up around your eyes and on this whole upper part of your head, there is this tension and this grieving. There's still a spaciousness in your heart. But as you even describe that, what really comes right in this moment is just wanting to scream.
Yeah, exactly.
Stress of it. Yeah, let yourself scream in whatever way.
I'm holding it back. I can't. I'm afraid of. I have fear about. The neighbors and all that.
You would be fearful to scream as much as you'd like, but you would really like to scream about this tension, this pain of the crashing between the joy and maybe the spaciousness and this pain and grieving.
And stress and tension in the upper part of my body and eyes and head and just the feeling of beauty too. There's like there's something I can feel it in my body, like that softness. It's like a sensuousness. It's like a beauty, and just this conflict, this muddlement and conflict between the two. And I was just imagining starting to write, and it's just like then. Now it's like kind of like a choking, almost like a choking. Just imagining, addressing. You can even feel. I can feel kind of like throat and this kind of area, kind of even constricting. Just even imagining, just the imagining of sitting down and starting to write.
Okay, let's see if we can just slow down here so I can try to capture all the different parts of this that are coming up. So there's this tension around your eyes and your head, and the word grief goes there. And also the scream that would be so loud it would scare your neighbors. There's a spaciousness around your heart. And then what came up that I want us to really notice is a sense of beauty. So let's really try to hold all these things. Up in your eyes and head, there's a pain and a grieving. In your heart, there's a spaciousness, there's a scream, but also this sense of beauty. So, and there's softness with the beauty. So I guess I want us to try to hold at least two places and let you choose where you want to go. You could go with what is this softness, this beauty? I imagine that would touch you, some tears if you went there. Or you could go also with this kind of choking sensation that comes up if you even imagine writing. So maybe just sit with those two body feels and see which one comes next or where you'd like to go.
I'm sensing into the choking, into the kind of that constriction, and there's a surrounding in the beauty. It's like the choking is demanding attention. It's like this is just it needs attention. So I'm giving it attention. Just thinking of giving it attention, I brought in a deep breath, like pay attention. Yeah, paying attention.
So the beauty is there, but the choking is what wants attention.
Mm-hmm.
And even when you name that, there's a big sigh. You're like, yes, the choking wants attention. And you could try this or not, but you could even put your hands where that whole choking thing is in a gentle way. More like you're going to give it kindly attention. Or fists if that's what comes. That's using your body gesture to bring attention to that spot. Choking, I'm choking and I really want your attention. I'm trying to write. There's beauty here. There's the potential for joy here in communicating.
It's like I feel like my body wants to turn away. It's like, this is too hard. It's like, let's kind of just avoid this. It's like, let's just turn away. And
your body wants to just turn away. Your head wants to just turn away and say, no, this is really too painful. I do not want to be sitting here writing. Trying to write.
It's even more, it's like I don't want to be even dealing with this pain because it just feels too hopeless. It's just like, it's hopeless. Let's just get out of here. Let's just avoid this. It's just too hard. There's just going in. It's like, no more of this. Let's do something else. It's just like, it's just hopeless. It's so knotted that it's just hopeless to unravel it.
So there's a hopelessness of just get away from this. I want to give up on this. I don't want to do this anymore. But also, no, you aren't allowing yourself to give up on it because there's also the potential for joy and your big spacious heart and the sense of beauty that's possible. So that's why you're stuck here.
Yeah, I'm just kind of stuck. Someone just entered the room, so I'm feeling a little distracted. So
that's okay with us. We can go back. That's part of this, is that we can go back to the stuck feeling. It's okay. We can go back. And I see almost a teariness there. When you opened your eyes, almost a teariness.
Yeah, it's not there's a little teariness, but I'm not sure it's just a little moist around the eyes. Feeling distracted. Someone came into the room, distracted me, took my attention. And so I'm trying to get back. I still feel it, I'm holding it here, so I'm giving it a physical, I can feel the physicality of it that I'm holding.
So I'm going to do something else here, which I didn't include in my possibilities, but I'm going to do more like a little self-empathy intervention. I'm going to ask you, Edwin, if you can bring some tenderness to this whole thing. The being distracted, someone coming in, the having worked on this so long and being even tired of this whole issue, just wanting to leave it. The tightness in your throat and the blockage to joy. I would wish that you could surround all of that with some tenderness and self-compassion for yourself as Edwin, carrying this issue that is such a block to what you want. Just to kind of bring a gentleness.
I feel the gentleness just pouring in.
Yeah.
It's like there's like a anxiety, tension, distraction, kind of a field of that emerging. And I feel, just by you guiding it, I feel the softness, the gentleness coming in.
Yeah. So, and maybe even do that with your body gesture. Maybe put your hands now in a softer way, not the clenching, softer, as Edwin loving himself. Nurturing Edwin, just loving himself for struggling with this
issue. It needs to be more here too.
Okay, so again, just let the warmth of your hands, just bringing that warm attention to all this stuckness. and just loving yourself for struggling with this. You could have walked away, but you don't want to give up on all that joy and beauty. So just breathing, big sigh.
Yes.
Let's see what comes there.
Yeah, I do want to be present. I do feel a presence, be present with this, even though I'm pulling part of me. There's a quality of pulling away. There's also another quality of wanting to be present with this, this issue.
So you do want to be present with it. You don't want to give up on it and just turn your head and walk away from all this potential possibility for beauty and joy and communication. It's difficult to stay here, but you want to be present to it. You don't want to desert it.
I want to approach it with that warmth. It's like approach it coming into it with the sense of warmth. So I do feel that warmth surrounding it, and it feels better to approach it with that warmth. So it's not as painful, and I don't feel like running away as much.
Okay, so given our time for this session, could you just kind of put a marker there around that there's a way when you were working on this or being in this that you could almost physically with your hands on your eyes and on your neck and on your heart, you could bring back this body feel of the warmth. That's within your power.
Yeah.
So you could take that with you from this little 20 minutes. That is something you could do.
Yeah, I like that. That's really, that feels good. I'm kind of excited about that. I'm feeling some excitement about that whole idea of on my own, when the tension arises, just give myself this warmth to approach it.
So that feels like something new. Yeah. There's some excitement. There's some laughter that comes up, energy moving. Wow, this is something I could do myself. The next time it gets so constricted and so gripped and stuck, I can remember, I can bring gentleness to this. I can take my hands, my own physical hands, and remind myself to be warm and gentle toward this stuckness.
Well, I'm looking forward to actually trying that out to see what happens. So,
so that's a powerful thing. That's a powerful shift from being hard on yourself, having this issue, to just surrounding the issue, being present with self-compassion, self-empathy. So that's probably the most powerful thing you could do there. Just to take that with you. Now we have a few minutes. I'm going to suggest one more thing. We've marked that, so you can take that with you. I wonder in this last minute, would it make sense to go to that other side, the place where the word beauty came up? There's all this beauty. Would it make sense to just sit with that, let the body feel that beauty come, and make some words or images out of that to get a bigger sense of what's waiting on the other side of this knot? So maybe just sense into the words, the beauty. There's beauty here.
The beauty is part of that touching it, the coming in with that warmth and care. That is what the beauty is. So that is the gentleness, the soft touch, the soft caress of the pain.
Okay, so let's let you really feel those words in your body.
It sounds like like a stretching out.
It's like the beauty that you're looking for, that you could maybe even communicate in your writing, but certainly in your process of writing, is this self-nurturing. It is bringing tenderness to stuck, hard things. That is the beauty. Self-empathy is the beauty you're after. To bring softness, to bring gentleness to hard, stuck things.
Wow.
So just breathing into that, just marking that in your body as a body feel. This is the beauty. Self-love, loving what's hard. So we're at our 20 minutes. Why don't you do whatever you'd like to do inside to really mark these places so you can come back. One of them is just physically putting warm attention on your body when you feel stuck. And then the other is realizing, well, that's what it's all about. That's the beauty right there.
Wow.
Maybe that's even what you want to write about.
Yeah.
So you're excited to try this out, to bring softness and the beauty of self-empathy to that stuckness the next time it happens, and just write through that. Because I'm writing about stucknesses surrounded by softness and beauty. Something like that.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So you can take that with you. You could listen to this again if you need to be reminded. And yes, coming back into the room. And I'll just ask you as the focuser, take a deep breath since we're shifting gears here. And anything you'd like to say about how that process was for you, or any feedback to me, just anything that comes.
Yeah, that was like a really, it's like an insight. It's like, oh, I hadn't thought of that. It's like having that. It's usually, it's like, how do I avoid this pain? And so I have a whole new way of approaching this. I'm actually excited to try. So I feel like I feel much more spacious. I feel excited to actually try this on the next, when something comes up. So
it sounds like there's like a little hope there that wasn't there before, like a little hope. Here's something I can do every time. Every time that stuckness comes, I can say, oh, Edwin, surround it with beauty and softness, and love yourself for even sitting here and struggling with this.
And actually physically touching, kind of moving, like, where is this spot, and giving it some, some softness and caressing and some space, which kind of seems to open up space.
Yeah. Okay. So again, breathing into your body is a way of really letting these things settle into your body.
Yeah,
so
nice.
I'll just say, as the listener, it's like, wow, this really was an example of the more directiveness that focusing is. Although I did a lot of reflecting. In fact, I would say, pay attention to your body and really see what comes when I say your words back. So there was a lot of this saying back. And it makes me really happy that this whole issue of self-empathy just arose. I forgot to even talk about it. Like, there may be 4 different kinds of response, but it's all surrounded by self-empathy. So focusing really can't happen unless you have an attitude of non-judgmental curiosity, warm, loving towards yourself. So I'm really glad that came up and needed to insert itself and be talked about.
Okay, well, thank you for having done this session with me. Very grateful for it.
And thank you for being a wonderful participant.